Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bem-vindos, welcome to our daily reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. So before starting our Srimad Bhagavatam, let me offer my obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the translator, the author, translator of the commentaries of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I beg you all, my listeners, that you show or give me your blessings so I can find the right words, and please forgive my shortcomings and forgive my broken English. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutalem Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Chinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nirvisesa Sunyabhadi Pasachade Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Jinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangira De Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kaupatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Status Quo, Chapter 3, The Pastimes of Lord Krishna outside Vrindavana. Text today is 19. Bhagavān api viśvā-ātmā loka-veda-pathānugaḥ kāmān siṣeve dvārvatyām asaktaḥ sāṅkhyam āsthitaḥ. Translation Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Bhagavān, the Personality of Godhead. Api, also, viśva-ātmā, the Supersoul of the universe. Loka, customary. Veda, Vedic principles. patha-anugaḥ, follower of the path. Kāmān, the necessities of life. siṣeve, enjoyed. Dvārvatyām, in the city of Dvārakā. Asaktaḥ, without being attached. Sāṅkhyam, knowledge in Sāṅkhya philosophy. Āsthitaḥ, being situated. Translation. Simultaneously, the Personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dvārakā, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. So Uddhava is speaking to Vidura, is remembering Krishna's leelas, Krishna's pastimes, activities in Dvārakā. And he says here the verse simultaneously, because in the previous verse it was said that Krishna, he requested Yudhishthira Maharaj to perform horse sacrifice, because Yudhishthira, he was the emperor of the universe. About 5,000 years ago, there was only one regent in this planet, on this planet Earth, and that was Maharaja Yudhishthira. That was the result of the battlefield, or the battle of Kurukshetra. The Pandavas, led by Yudhishthira, and his brothers, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, they emerged victorious at the battle of Kurukshetra, and then they took whatever belonged to them. So, and Yudhishthira was the emperor of the earth at that time, about 5,000 years ago. And this just simultaneously, at the same time that Yudhishthira was performing the horse sacrifice, yajna, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dvāraka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. Just a second here, let me figure out something. Okay. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sāṅkhya system of philosophy, Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. While Maharaja Yudhishthira was the emperor of the earth, Lord Shri Krishna was the king of Dvāraka and was known as Dvārkadish, the controller, the lord, the king of Dvāraka, Dvārkadish. Isha is the controller, king, lord. Like other subordinate kings, he was under the regime of Maharaja Yudhishthira. So because Yudhishthira, he was the emperor of the world, so every king was surrendered to him, was under the regime of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Although Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme emperor of the entire creation, while he was on this earth, he never violated the principles of the Vedic injunctions because they are the guide of a human life. So Yudhishthira was the emperor, but actually Krishna is the emperor of all the universe. It says in the Bhagavad Gita that chapter 10, text 8, Sarvasyachaham ridisanivisto. Sarvasyachaham ridisanivisto. I mean, the heart of every living entity. And he's as the Supersoul, and he controls all the universe. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata smiti agana. Mata smiti gyana mapohanancha. While he was on this earth, he never violated the principles of the Vedic injunctions because they are the guide of a human life. So Krishna, he was the Supreme Lord, and he was acting as a king, the king of Dvāraka. And while he was on this earth, while he was performing his lila, his activities as a king, he acted in a perfect way, because a king is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A king has to represent God. And Krishna, actually, he was representing himself. And a king represents the Supreme God because he establishes the principles given by the Lord. So in this way, Krishna, although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was performing all kinds of duties, sacrifice, austerity. So this is what it says in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, text 16, it says, Evam pravartitam chakranna nuvartayatihaya agayurindriyarama mogamparta sadjivati. Krishna tells Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. So in this way, Lord Krishna, he was performing all kinds of sacrifices, all kinds of charities. He was following strictly the principles established in the Vedas. So there is the Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita, it's a guidance for human beings. And Krishna used to follow strictly the Manu Samhita. And he used to practice sacrifice. He used to do yagyas. Because as he said to Arjuna, living one person who doesn't perform sacrifice just lives a life in vain. A person who lives just for the satisfaction of his senses, that person lives a life in vain. And this is what we see all over the world today. We just want to satisfy our senses. See, the world is completely controlled over this idea. So we are being watched now, right now, whatever we speak. So there are some robots finding our words. And then with finding our words, algorithms, they are going to show you when you are in your email, when you are in your social media, they are showing you whatever you are talking, speaking, thinking, and then they will show you how to enjoy your senses. They will show so many advertisements, ads. Whatever you speak, you're going to see, you're going to open your social media, your mail, your YouTube, whatever, Google. So there it is. Do this, do that, because you use some words. So this is the way that society lives, because people, they just want to enjoy their senses. They want to enjoy their senses, and the world is made in this way that it's a capitalist society. They want you to enjoy, and they will make you spend your life, give your life to this world. But actually this is living in vain. Who can make any progress on that? You can make, maybe you can make some much more money or get more material facility. But this is not the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to understand yourself and understand God and understand your relationship with God. Sambandha, Videya, and Prayojana. Sambandha, Videya, Prayojana. You have to understand who we are, who God is, and how to establish our relationship with God. But because society is so attached to giving pleasure to their senses, they forget completely about God. They are just thinking about themselves. Me, I am the enjoyer, this is mine, this belongs to me. This is the way that we are trained. This is the nature of this material world. But human life means to understand who am I. I'm this body. When the soul leaves the body just becomes food for the worms. Just go underneath the earth. But we are eternal. And God is eternal. And what's our relationship with God? This is what we should try to understand. So in this way, Krishna explained to Arjuna that a person who does not perform sacrifice, does not follow in the principles of the Vedas, just trying to enjoy the senses. So a person like that is just living in vain. And he says in the text 22, chapter 3, Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam navaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I'm engaged in prescribed duties. So you see, although Krishna was the king of Dvāraka, he understood that he was under the regime of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he had to perform all his prescribed duties. He was in that way, he was engaged in prescribed duties. He says in the Gita that for it I ever failed to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. So, if we follow the rules, regulations prescribed in the Vedas, this is because Krishna is giving the example. Jaja charati shrestha. Whatever a common man, whatever a acharya, jaja charati shrestha. Acharya is the one who teaches by example. And people, the common man, they have the tendency to follow acharyas, those who live by example. And Krishna was acting in that way. So he was performing prescribed duties in certain way that man would follow in his path. He said that if I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creation I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. That's the importance of the scriptures, revealed scriptures, either Christian, Koran, Muslim, whatever. Because in the scriptures, there you see the principles established by God. And because he establishes the principles in the scriptures, man follow. If Krishna, God, doesn't show by example how to live a life, so society is destroyed. People would live in vain. Prabhupada says in the Purport, regulated human life according to the Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sāṅkhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life, regulated life. So humans, they have to accept regulated life, prescribed duties, discipline. This is a human form of life. The animals, they do not follow discipline. They follow a very natural, organic discipline. But it's not that they, with their intelligence, mind, they control their sense. But naturally they act in a certain way. But humans, they have to be disciplined. They have to be regulated. They have to have a moment that they get up in the morning. They have a moment that they go to bed in the evening. That's regulated life. Timing for eating, time for sleeping, time for sex, time for this, time for that. Everything disciplined. This is human form of life. Not that I'm going to do whatever I want at any time that I want. No. One has to follow a regulated life. And according to the Vedic principles. For this reason, the scriptures, they establish to us what are the principles. Like in the Christianity, there are the 10 commandments of God. Don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. So in that way, we regulate our lives. So regulating human life according to the Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sāṅkhya philosophy. Sāṅkhya philosophy is the study of the nature of this material world and our own nature, how we relate with this material world. Earth, fire, water, ego, intelligence, the senses, the soul. This is understanding all these items. This is Sāṅkhya philosophy. So, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sāṅkhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life. By being regulated, by following principles based in the scriptures, then we can really enjoy the necessities of life. We can really be happy. But because society is trying just to enjoy in a very dysregulated way, actually they suffer. They suffer. Like, for example, one person who is addicted to eat meat, dysregulated, because there are principles in the scriptures. You should only take vegetables, grains, fruits. But if you are dysregulated, you eat whatever you want. And what's going to be the result? Disease, and after death, suffering. So the whole world, society, they are suffering due to the sins of humans, people. We have war, we have pestilence, we have virus, we have COVID-19. Why? This is the result of unregulated life. And in unregulated life, no one can be happy, no one can really enjoy. If you really want to enjoy the necessities of life, whatever you see, we have to follow the principles of the scriptures. By being regulated, by being pure, by having pure habits, behavior, so then we naturally enjoy. But if you don't follow, you just suffer. Without such knowledge, detachment, and custom, the so-called human civilization is no more than an animal society of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. This material society, human civilization, is no more than an animal society. Animal society, they just do whatever they want. But human society, no. So, a human is driving and he, she sees the red light. He, she, they know that I have to stop. I cannot go. So I'm sorry, it seems there were some failing in the internet system. So again, human civilization is no more than animal society of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. So, Prabhupada explains here, without such knowledge, detachment, and custom, following the customs of Vedic civilization, human civilization, a person just lives like an animal. We have in this human form of body, we have to develop knowledge, who we are. And when we understand that we are soul, we are spirit soul, we are parts of God, our real nature is in relationship with God. So naturally we have to practice detachment. We have to detach ourselves from this material world. We have to detach ourselves from these material things. And it's possible by devotional service. The whole principle of Vedic civilization, everything, all the rules, regulation, all prescribed duties, all sacrifice, austerities, search of knowledge, all of this is just for us to obtain pure devotional service. Devotional service to the Lord. This is called bhakti, bhakti yoga. Through the practice of bhakti yoga, by being engaged in devotional service to the Lord. Otherwise, there is no meaning to do sacrifice, to do austerity, to be disciplined. All this discipline, all these rules, customs given by the Vedas is for us to obtain devotional service to the Lord. And by practicing bhakti yoga, we develop knowledge, we develop detachment from this world. This is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Canto 2, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 7. Text 7, it says there, Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyan Jnanacha Ahaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So this is the result of practicing Bhakti Yoga. One develops Janaya to Asu, Vairagyan. He becomes detached from this material world, and he develops knowledge, jnana cha-ahaitukam. So the result of practicing Bhakti Yoga, so we are cut off again, the internet. So we are saying that how by practicing devotional service, we develop detachment and knowledge. So Prabhupada says in the Purport, the Lord was acting freely as he willed, yet by his practical example he taught not to lead a life which goes against the principles of detachment and knowledge. So human life means detachment and knowledge. To develop knowledge about ourselves, about God, about this world, our relationship with Him. Sorry again, there is not much I can do. We are cut off again, the internet problem. So, human life means to end the miseries. Birth, disease, old age, death. So this is human life. Prabhupada says, or he finishes the purport saying, fulfilling the demands of the body is animal life, and fulfilling the mission of the spirit soul is the human mission. So let's finish here before we are cut off again. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and if you have any question, please write down in the comment box and I will answer to you.